I'm so glad I live in a world where there are Novembers. Maybe this quote sounds familiar to you. If it does, it's a quote from Anne of Green Gables from Ellen Montgomery, though she was talking about Octobers. But I think you can apply that emotion to any month. My choice is November because it's my birthday month and my favorite month of the year. My favorite song also has the word November in the title. Can you maybe guess which one it is? If you do, leave a comment in the comment section below. And November brings me to today's video, which is the setup of November pages in my common planner. Hi, I'm Dragana from Dragana's Crafts, someone who has always loved pretty notebooks and stationery since I was a little girl. I can't remember the last time I reached for this planner. From June till now I used everything I could, but I was never really satisfied with any notebook I used. I missed my main planner, and when I sat down to film this video, I thought of trying out a different approach and adjusting the weekly spreads to my needs. So when I was planning for November at the end of October, I decided to test out my new idea. Also, apologies upfront, I noticed this only after I filmed all the footage and while I was editing the video. Right after I was done setting up the monthly calendar and switched to do the weeklies, the lighting changed, and you'll probably see my glasses popping in and out of the screen, but not too much. Monthly calendars are sort of my comfort zone. I usually decorate them in the same or similar way as I did this one, and their usage is rather straightforward. Decorations wise, I like to use a monthly kit from a shop that I like, which is in this case the Coffee Monsters Co., though I was inspired by Anne from Journal Away to cover the dates in the calendar with a thin washi tape and then add the date dot stickers on top. This brown grid washi tape I used here is from Anne's shop Paper Monogatari. Planning wise, the monthly calendar was never a problem for me to use. I don't have that many appointments and events on a monthly basis, but everything I need to record in a month goes on this spread. I keep track of due bills, my husband's travel dates, appointments that the four of us have, and my monthly subscriptions. There are times when something pops up in the middle of the month and I'll go back to this spread to write it down, but honestly I don't use it that much throughout the month because as I do my weekly planning, I check the monthly calendar and anything in it that's happening or related to the week that I'm planning for in that moment will go in the weekly spread. So you could say that on average I use my monthly calendar 5 to 6 times in the month, when I set it up and write everything down before every weekly planning and if any new appointment or event gets scheduled in the given month. Unlike my weekly spreads that can be rather messy, I like to keep my monthly calendar relatively clean looking so that I don't have a problem finding what I need. Though you might say, what do you mean you keep it clean? It's full of stickers. And you would be right to say that. But I don't write that much down, is what I meant. I've seen people using these calendars for a lot of different things, like splitting the boxes horizontally and then using the top part for events and other appointments and the bottom part of the box for gratitude logging or something similar, but I don't like doing that, to be honest. In my eyes, it would be too cluttered. A lot of text on a monthly spread bothers me much more than a bunch of stickers. One thing that I will add to the calendar planning in general is when my videos will be published. The current plan is that I publish a video every Tuesday and Sunday or Wednesday and Sunday, but I can't make any promises because I don't have that much free time anymore. Which brings me to the topic of why I took such a long break from YouTube. Somewhere at the end of May, beginning of June, I applied for a job because I thought it was time to start job hunting a bit more actively. That was the first job I applied for, and to my surprise, next evening I got an email from the recruiter requesting a meeting the following day. I honestly didn't expect it would happen so fast, but before I knew it, I had a meeting with the recruiter, then with my future team leader, and then a couple of days later I got an offer, which I couldn't refuse. Well, I could have, but I didn't want to. The job I applied for is customer service for Dutch language, and even though it's not the most exciting job in the world, I was given a good offer, and the job allows me to practice Dutch so that I don't forget it now that we are not living in Belgium anymore. And so, on the 9th of June, I started working. Naturally, I started having way less time for planning and journaling, and very soon I stopped using my planner. Now when I look back, I feel so sad that that happened, but I can't change what happened. I can only find a way to adjust the planner to my needs now that I'm a working mom. My probation period of 6 months is almost done, and I can say with certainty that I proved myself well enough that I'll be staying permanently in my role. So, being a working mom now, I kept using the monthly spreads, but every time I would look at the weekly spreads, I wouldn't know what to write down. I mean, my days are more or less the same. I wake up at 6 o'clock, get ready for work. I work from 8 till 4, and then when I come home, I try to do as many things as possible before I rest on the couch reading or gaming and then go to bed. So it seemed like a waste of paper to write all of that down. Every day, the same morning routine, the same working hours, and only my evenings would differ depending on what chores needed to be done or if the kids had any activities. However, if I'm completely honest though, I can't say that finding a job was the only reason why I stopped using my planner. The weekly section, yes, but the daily pages stopped working for me because I was using them the wrong way. Well, it's more accurate to say that my approach to them was wrong. I had a bad habit of postponing the setting up of daily pages, and then I would want to film them, so I would rush like a maniac, and in the end, what would I get? Bad footage that I couldn't turn into a decent video, daily pages that I didn't like visually, and the direct result of that was that I stopped journaling altogether. And that's my biggest regret actually. I noticed that I became more anxious and nervous because I didn't write at all. Not immediately, but after a while it became rather obvious. Therefore, I decided to do my planning and setting up daily pages way in advance so that I can start using them when a month comes. Now you're watching this video and thinking, hey girl, it's almost mid-November and you talk about setting up your pages on time. Well, I'll have you know that I have set these up 2 weeks ago, but I never got around to publishing the video earlier. Better late than never though, right? That's why you're watching it now and not when I actually filmed it. So those are pretty much the reasons behind my absence all these months. Now back to the planning itself. I don't think that the setup of the monthly spread needs more explanation, so I'll just jump straight into explaining my thought process regarding the weekly pages. I mentioned earlier that writing down my boring daily routine every single day seemed like a waste of paper. But then I started thinking about what I should use the weekly pages for. It's true that in the morning I can't do many exciting things. I mean, I barely feel alive when I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, but what about those 8 hours when I'm at work and afternoons and evenings? I'm still able to plan something in those time periods, even though every day is the same, right? And that's why you see me marking my working hours to sort of split my days into 3 sections: mornings, working hours, and then remainder of the day. It's true that I can't do much while I'm in the office except to make a couple of calls when needed, but there's one thing I can do when I don't have a lot of work. I can listen to audiobooks. If you would have told me a couple of months ago that I would become a fan of audiobooks, I would have called you crazy. But in October, I participated in a reading challenge and I wanted to read as many books as possible. Now, reading on my Kindle at work isn't a problem, but I wanted to be able to do work-related things while listening to something. So I decided to give audiobooks a try. I mean, I have listened to audiobooks before, but this time I really got into them. I listened to 6 audiobooks. 6! I mean, till that point, I would listen to one max per month, and even that felt like too much. I discovered the joy of audiobooks while at work. And why I'm mentioning this? Well, I thought I could mark my working hours in my weekly section, and on the days when I listened to audiobooks, I could write which book I listened to and for how long. And I could also write down all the calls I need to make for personal purposes or personal emails that I need to write. That's for the days when I'm in the office. On the days when I work from home, I'm much more flexible, and even though I'm working, I can still do a lot of chores, run quick errands, and since I don't lose time on traffic, I'm practically able to do whatever I want and need because I'm working from home. And speaking of traffic, even though I work from 8 till 4, I have to leave home at 7 o'clock, and when I leave work, I'm at home around 5 in the afternoon. So that's 2 hours wasted in traffic. Though I do listen to audiobooks while I drive. Oh man, I really got hooked, didn't I? Anyway, that is the plan. I will use the sidebar to write the most important tasks of the week. I'll start tracking the most important habits, which are no sweets, healthy diet, hydration, and journaling. And if I have space, I will squeeze in a highlight of the week. Then the vertical columns will be for what I just talked about. I have plenty of space to write my daily to-do lists that are doable when I'm working. The weekends are, of course, free for anything that needs to be done. And I decided to leave a designated spot where I would write down 3 book titles I want to read that week. That is the general idea for planning going forward. The second part of my problem that I wanted to tackle is to prepare everything on time, and that's exactly what I did in this video. I mean, that is what I did for this video. Before I would set up my monthly spread and then one weekly spread. That's what I did till June this year. This time I decided to set up all 4 weeks of November regardless of having things to write or not. Using my general idea of how to use the weekly spreads more functionally, I set up the whole of November in this video, and now that we're on the 12th of November, when you're watching this video, I can honestly say that this was a great idea. I've been using my weeklies religiously these 2 weeks, and I feel so happy and much better organized than I have been since June. Also, the fact that I don't obsess anymore about whether the video will be on time or not also helps a lot. Like I said, I filmed this 3 weeks ago, though I did say earlier 2 weeks, which isn't correct, it's 3 weeks. And I still managed not only to publish it, but I'm using my weeklies in a way that suits my lifestyle perfectly. I know it's not the most revolutionary idea in the world, but it's working for me right now, and maybe in the coming weeks, I'll come up with something better. Whatever the way I end up using my weekly spreads, I'll be sharing it with you guys. Maybe you get inspired too to try something out that you see in my videos. I didn't go too heavy on decorations. I decided to use up as much of the November monthly kit as possible, so I used it to set up the first week of November together with some washi tapes from the Coffee Monsters Co. That's something I do often. Either I split the monthly kit between a monthly and a weekly spread, or I use half of the monthly kit for the calendar and put the rest in a reusable sticker book, which you will have seen me use in this video. I have a lot of leftover stickers that live in my sticker books because I don't like to waste anything. The second week of November I decorated by using the September monthly kit from the Coffee Monsters Co. as well. I didn't want to wait for September next year before using it, and it's not like it's so specifically for September that it can't fit November. The third and fourth week I decorated, surprise surprise, again with the Coffee Monsters Co. Hobonichi Cousin weekly kit called Autumn. Even after decorating all 4 spreads, I still had a lot of stickers left in all the kits, so I stashed them all at the front of my planner to use when needed this month. Before I wrap up the video, or at least the voiceover, I want to take a moment and complain about my fountain pen. As you see, I tried a couple of times to use my vanishing point because that's my favorite fountain pen. Now, I haven't used it in a while, and I did clean it fully before inking it again, but it still writes streaky, and I don't know why. It breaks my heart to see it like that because I adore this pen. So, vanishing point users out there, do you have the same problem? And if you do, how did you solve it? What am I doing wrong? Please let me know in the comments. I really want to use my pen again and that it writes beautifully as it used to. And that's all for today's voiceover. The video is still going on, so you'll be listening to some light music instead of me. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. It would mean the world to me. I mean, you can also dislike it if you wish, but maybe don't do it. All in all, it's a pleasure to be filming again and interacting with you guys. I'll be seeing you all again very soon. Bye!